All right, we are back here at track 4 for game something 5 of today. And I am Wilhelmina, and I am about to be joined by Melodrama. Hi, Mel. For this clash between Ballarat Roller Derby League and Blue Mountains Roller Derby League. This is a Division 2 clash at the Great Southern Slam 2018. We are about to get underway. And skating for Ballarat today we have Scream, Barticus, Gussie, Killamari, Mega, Bailey, Alice, Snipples, Vindicator, and on their bench we have Xavier and Rachel. And we are off and going, and it is number 42, Bailey, jamming for Ballarat. And it is Victoria Hitter jamming for Blue Mountains Roller Derby League. Victoria Hitter got out first but did not pick up lead jammer, so once Bailey got out, she called off the jam, so that first jam has no points.
Oh, sorry for my tardiness, Willow.
That's okay.
Got caught up on another game.
Few tracks running late today, so lots of derby to get through and not enough time, unfortunately.
So we got Blue Mountains in the blue jerseys, holding the pack out in front. Cut track being dealt, I think, to Vindicator. Vindicator for the... oh, goodness. For Ballarat Rats.
And their pivot now off to the bin as well. That is Mega.
Ginger Rogers jamming for the Blue Mountains. Doesn't seem to be very many people on the track at all.
No, we've got a few blockers in the bin. We've got jammers in the bin. Ginger Rogers now with the power jam for the Free Sisters.
And Blue Mountains initially holding the pack back. Now they're engaging with Vindicator. 5-point pass for Ginger Rogers, calling that jam off. Alrighty. We are going to be a little bit slower in identifying who's jamming and which blockers are being are able to hold back the jammers. We're actually sitting on the reverse side of what we would ordinarily be sitting to.
Absolutely. So it is a little bit difficult to see the jammer numbers and names, so we will
make them up.
Make them up. That's Rapidash, and she is your lead jammer from the Blue Mountains. Meanwhile, Gussie is jamming for the Rat Pack and is also through on her initial pass.
In Ballarat, this is their second game for today. Their first game was against VRDL, the notorious VICs. It was a very tiring game. So they are probably going to be feeling the burn in the legs very soon.
Yeah, keeping the pack really fast too, which doesn't help with the burning in the legs.
Gussie knocked out of play. Rapid dash with no pass, no penalty. No, that can't be true because she just scored 5 points.
Possibly she'd already passed them.
Ah, yes indeed, yes indeed. Amanda's Flutterby sent to the penalty box for a multiplayer block. Both jammers adding 4 more points to their score.
That is the first scoring, well, the first points in this game for the Rat Pack. The Free Sisters out on 23 points.
Dr. Who sent to the penalty box.
And in goes the pivot for the Blue Mountain Roller Derby League. Malevolent sitting in the penalty box as well. So skaters going everywhere just at the moment, except on the track.
Rule breakers. I believe that's Vinderskater jamming for the Rat Pack. She's up against Annie Emergency. Blue Mountain's playing in the blue shirts.
Bit of confusion there as to who got what penalty, but Vinderskater back on the track for the Rat Pack.
It's a massive penalty spiral happening.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the pack is because there it is.
There are individual skaters on the track. Moon Crisis off at the penalty box. 2 more Blue Mountains blockers joining us on the track. But that jam being called off. Let's see who emerges.
Looks like Gussie now will be jamming for the Rat Pack.
I think that's up against Vic Hitter. It took me nearly 2 years of calling games for Victoria Hitter to figure out why her number was 375. Mills.
Ah.
Yeah. 2 years. Timeout being called for the Blue Mountains. Each team, of course, has 3 timeouts for the game and 1 official review for each half. If a team wants to use their official review as a timeout, they can do that. So all up, that's like a maximum of 5 timeouts. I did the maths.
That's good because I'm terrible at maths.
Thank you so much to the Adelaide Showground for hosting us. It's a pretty great venue. There are 4 tracks inside this pavilion, and there's another 1 track inside the main pavilion.
Plus 2 warm-up tracks. That's what I saw yesterday. So the crew of
Right.
volunteers here yesterday laid 7 derby tracks in this venue.
That's so impressive. And this is all thanks to Adelaide Showground. It is a great venue. It'd be wonderful to move it up to Sydney.
It's always nice when someone lets you stick stuff to their floor, make a derby
they
track.
don't get all twitchy.
Gussie jamming for the Rat Pack. And we've got, Vic Hitter still for the Blue Mountains Roller Derby League.
Vic Hitter having to go back behind number 47, Alice. Bit of confusing play there from the Rat Pack. And the Rat Pack sent to the penalty box and given an insubordination called to boot. Double penalty for her. However, Vic Hitter has gone to the penalty box as well. Only one of those penalties will be matched, and that will mean that Vic Hitter will come out of the penalty box, leaving Gussie in there for 1 full penalty.
Yes.
Whew.
Blimey.
That call was exhausting. Vic Hitter trying to make their way through.
Another forearms penalty being called there on number 42 from the Ballarat Roller Derby League. That is Bailey.
There's about 35 seconds left in this jam. Vic hit a ground to an absolute halt there on the inside of that track, and now being driven to the outside, giving Gussie all the opportunities to score the points. And that jam coming to its natural conclusion. Free Sisters are sitting on 34 points, and the Rat Pack from Ballarat sitting on 12.
I was about to say we have a full complement of blockers back on the track, but there is still one Blue Mountains blocker sitting in the penalty bin. So that's incorrect. Vindicator now lead jammer for the Rat Pack.
And a low block penalty being issued to the Blue Mountains jammer Inja Rogers, giving a power jam to Ballarat.
Only early in the game, but a good chance for Ballarat to just close up that margin a bit. High block call there as one of the Blue Mountains blockers checks and knows.
Probably a high block then.
Probably a high block from Mega there. I'm not going to argue.
Vindicator not being driven to the outside line enough and just sneaks on through for her pass. Ballarat calling that jam off after adding 4 more points to their score. They are closing the gap. 3 points the difference now.
Amazing how quickly a power jam can do that.
Marching up the inside line, we have captain there from the Rat Pack, Bailey. She's up against Rapid Dash. Bailey hits the wall of Blue Mountains.
The old call off from the flat of the back. It's one of my favourite moves in roller derby. Not that I do it, I just enjoy when other people do.
For over 70 years, Rydell has been the innovative leader in the roller skating industry. Rydell skates, unmatched quality, unmatched performance. That's Rydell.
You can find them in our vendor village over in the other pavilion where track 1 is.
And apparently 2 warm-up tracks.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a lot of space.
Well, there's a lot of teams who need to warm up.
It's pretty cold.
48, I believe I was told, in total at the Great Southern Slam this year.
48 teams?
48 teams.
That's outrageous. Vindicator out in front. She's got one to beat, but can't quite do it. That is Moon Crisis sending her back. Vindicator sent into a spin. Vindicator not able to add anything to their score. And that's a lead change. The Rat Pack on 38. The Free Sisters on 34.
I've had a few people say to me as I've wandered around that they were looking forward to this clash. The people in the know of the Australian Derby League say that these are 2 pretty well matched teams, and it's good to see them skating against each other.
Certainly panning out that way. Only one jam between them for the last couple of jams. That's Bailey through as lead jammer. Rapid Dash also with the captain's star.
Taking a big hit there and landing on the old posterior, but getting back up again.
In the meantime, Bailey doing an apex jump to score a 5-point pass, I think it was.
Probably. It looks like this has just been Rapid Dash's initials, so quite possibly a 5-point pass previously and another 4-point pass to end the jam.
Bit of a running start for both players. And Emergency trying to get out in front. She's lead jammer, but she's not the one in front. That is Vindicator. So Annie calls that jam off. I'll try again another day.
Absolutely important to conserve your energy when you've still got nearly an hour of roller derby ahead of you.
And the scores are pretty close, so there's no one particular team that would get the advantage from drawing time out. Vic Hitter on the jammer line for the Blue Mountains.
Somehow finds a space on the inside line with the old toe stops there.
I believe that's Bailey with the jammer star for the Rat Pack.
And Vic Hitter now out from her initial pass as well.
Bailey just marching past on the outside line, scoring those 4 points. Vic Hitter trying to squeeze her way through the outside, having the juke and then going on the inside for her 4-point pass. Bailey being hunted down by Manders Flutterby, but made to leave her alone. 4 points scored, and that jam is called off. Scoreboard reads Ballarat, the Rat Pack, 55 points, playing 38 for the Blue Mountains Free Sisters.
Off to a slow start to this jam as the jammers move laterally rather than pushing forward. No idea who they are at this point, I can't see.
Rapid Dash is jamming for the Blue Mountains. Gussie is jamming for the Rat Pack. And Gussie is through with lead jammer status. And Rapid Dash completes her initial pass. And Gussie calls that jam off.
Just finding the backwards blocking of Moon Crisis there a little bit tougher than she would like, and deciding to just give herself a rest there.
Rat Pack starting to creep on ahead. They are 19 points in front.
As long as they can keep their jammer on the track and not in the penalty box, that is a handy place to be and a handy lead to have early in the game.
Lead jam again to the Rat Pack. Ginger Rogers with the star in hand, but belting her way through. Popping the star back on.
Shouts of call from the bench there, and Vindicator complies.
Jammer on jammer action.
Yeah, love a bit of jammer on jammer action.
Bailey wants nothing to do with it. She's just going to stand and wait.
She's under no compulsion to return to the track, so she might as well just wait there and see where the jam takes her. But it is
Moon Crisis.
Moon Crisis out for lead jammer. Not on my list as a jammer, but she is jamming right now for the Blue Mountains Roller Derby League.
An emergency sent off to the penalty box for a back block, I believe. 3 points added to the Free Sisters score. Interesting move there from the Blue Mountains, using Moon Crisis as a jammer. Normally Moon Crisis does a pretty heavy load of blocking. This time we've got Dr. Hoo Hoo out in front. Half of the blockers from the Blue Mountains on track. She's up there with Malevolent.
And Gussie there picking up a cut track penalty, so handing the power jam to the Blue Mountain Roller Derby League. The power jam there giving Vic Hitter the chance to close up a little bit of that gap that's widened between these two teams. She's picked up 5 points on that pass.
Blue Mountains holding that pack very steady. Vic Hitter just drifting into that wall of Ballarat. Surely a low block there given to Killamari. Yes, it was. Unlucky to just clip the back of the skate there.
Yeah, unfortunately that does happen, and it is a penalty, even though it's not really an intentional thing that happens. We still have to be careful about where our wheels are when we play roller derby.
Ballarat not quite on the track. Predictably, a timeout called. We'd like to thank AJS Lighting Sound Events. Thanks for the supply of AV equipment, sales hire and installation of audio, visual and lighting systems for all commercial and domestic applications, including corporate functions and conferences. You should talk to AJS Lighting Sound Events. All right. That's quite a bit of a chat going on in there. Time is back on. Thank you so much to all of the referees and non-skating officials who are watching this game back. Thank you for volunteering your time and providing such an amazing service. For those not in the know, referees and non-skating officials do pretty much half the games each. Game on, game off, which is a hectic schedule.
There are some absolute diehard junkies amongst them who try and pick up as many extra games as they can as well. So picking up to let people have a rest or in case of injury, it's It's exhausting work, and we are so grateful that they give us their time.
And Rapidash calling that jam off after scoring 4 quick points. That puts the Blue Mountains within 1 point of the Rat Pack. 61 plays 60.
Amazing how quickly those score gaps can close up when you have a power jam situation. I've been reliably informed that my fellow commentator Melodrama is in fact dying. So she's gone in search of a lozenge. Meanwhile, Vindicator is jamming for the Rat Pack. And it is
That's an emergency.
an emergency for Blue Mountains, and she is your lead jammer.
Oh, goodness. Lozenges. Why do you have to taste the way you do? An emergency calling that jam off after scoring 4 more points.
Because if they tasted good, they wouldn't work.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's science.
This is my pain. Rat Pack still nudging 1 point out in front. 65 playing 64. The Rat Pack, of course, from Ballarat. And that is in Victoria. Was that where the gold rush happened? The Eureka Stockade?
Bendigo, isn't it? That's the gold rush. I don't know. All around there, I'm
Somewhere.
sure.
Somewhere, not Victoria. In Victoria, not Melbourne. That's Bailey through as a lead jammer for Ballarat. And that is Inja Rogers. Not that far behind her. Half track. Rapid dash on there as pivot.
Coming in, trying to give some offense, or at least trying to make her way through the pack. That picks up a penalty for her efforts. So that was Bailey picking up 4 points and calling off the jam.
We've got 6 minutes left in this game. I am going to guess that both of these teams are going to want to put on a little bit more pace in the scoring so that they can go into the halftime with more of an advantage, which will help you to swing the momentum your way, of course. Vindicator breaking through that wall of the Blue Mountains. She's through as lead jammer.
Vikita not very far behind her as she makes her initial pass as well.
The pack is moving fast, but without very much form. That allows Vindicator to be able to sneak through on the inside line. Adding 4 more to their score. Rat Pack inching out in front, 73 playing 64.
Gussie now jamming for the Rat Pack. Up against an emergency for the Free Sisters. And it is an emergency with the lead jammer position in this jam.
An emergency trying to bump her way through. Pulls a track cut for it. That gives Gussie the power jam. I did not see where that track cut was. Perhaps you all watching at home were paying better attention. But Bailey engaging with Moon Crisis. Gussie now engaging with Moon Crisis and Inja Rogers.
Just trying to push past that last jammer out of the front of the engagement zone.
Gussie just
And that is
raving.
her initial pass. So that is a big, long initial pass for Gussie there.
That was a terrific power jam kill there by Blue Mountains.
Absolutely. And they have actually kept Gussie back long enough to get an emergency out of the penalty bin. Gussie looking pretty tired there as she tries to take on the Blue Mountains bloggers.
Blue Mountains left straggling there, not a wall to be seen. But that jam being called off, so not being too much of a problem for them. I'm noticing on both teams that you see on lots of games that we watch now, we do see dedicated jammers. Both of these teams are not using dedicated jammers. Their jammers are on the track blocking as well. And I wonder how that affects their ability to focus on the job that they need to be doing at the time.
It is tricky. I know from my time doing benching that there are jammers who enjoy blocking, but they enjoy the mental break as well. They find that it is a different mental space and it helps them perhaps chill from the stress of the jammer situation and get back in a better headspace for their next jam. But I do agree it's interesting to see a lot of different skaters taking to the jam line, not always the same jammers.
Fender skater sent off for a multiplayer block. Not a penalty you see on many jammers. Rapid dash with the power jam for the Blue Mountains. She tries to get past Bailey, doesn't quite manage it. Malevolent back on the track for the Blue Mountains, and a power jam given now to Ballarat with track cut called. Rapid dash will serve the same length of penalty as Vindicator.
It looks like she was standing, so that's going to be most of a full penalty, not quite a full penalty. Vindicator just using
A battering ram.
Mega there as a battering ram.
And both jammers on the track now. Vindicator doing the pirouette to get through on her 5-point pass.
Forearms call there on Gussie. No, Bailey, my mistake.
Rapid dash managing to get through on the inside line to add 4 to the Blue Mountains score.
I feel like we just saw an arm whip. I don't think you ever see those in Derby, but we just saw one there.
No one dislocated their shoulder. We're happy with that.
There's no screams of pain, so it must have been successful.
We'll just move on from here, that being the case. That jam was nearly level pegging. 9 points added to the Free Sisters, 8 to the Rat Pack. That brings us to half-time. Ballarat going into half-time with 85, playing the Free Sisters 77.
Quite low-scoring half of a roller derby. And we shall see what happens in the second half when we come back in anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes. Okay, we are back with the second half of this game between Ballarat and the Blue Mountains. And I am once again waiting on Melodrama, but that's okay. She'll be here. We have Vindicator out for lead jammer for the Rat Pack. Rapidash jamming for the Blue Mountains. That gets called off with 4 points to the Rat Pack and nil for the Blue Mountains. Here she is. She's back. It's all good.
Late again. You'll have to cut that from my pay, I'm sorry.
Wait, you're getting paid?
At this stage, I owe money from being so late.
And Inja Rogers now lead jammer for the Free Sisters. Gussie just trying to battle her way through the pack for the Ballarat Roller Derby League. Inja slowed pretty much to a stop by the Ballarat blockers at the back there. But Gussie not having much more luck, so...
Gussie had an absolute cracker of a game first up this morning. Game number 2, it was against the VRDL C team, the VICs. Ballarat used a short roster over and over, same sort of jammers, and Gussie was one of them. And those jammers showed a lot of courage coming up against a team that is as focused and as polished as the VICs. So they're doing pretty well to keep their legs about them for this game.
Yeah, backing up 2 games in not really a lot of time there. I mean, that's only a couple of hours break is not exactly an easy thing to do.
And that was a pretty hard game as well. So, you know, a little bit of extra needed for that one.
Absolutely. We have Rapidash now with lead jam and a power jam situation which has just ended.
Just a public service announcement. If you are going to drink some Coke and you've had a Strepsil beforehand, don't. It's awful.
Good to know.
All right, a star pass for the Rats. 4 points added to Blue Mountain's score. I believe that's Bailey with the hat on, the star. The star hat.
Mega, I think, actually.
Oh, number 40, Mega. Yeah, you're right. Mega showing a great deal of versatility on the track. They've been used as blocker, jammer and pivot. Gussie starting to look a little bit weary there for the Ballarat Rat Pack. And the Free Sisters pulling out a big jam to get them just ahead. Now, Free Sisters 13 points added to their score, giving them 94. And only 4 added to Ballarat's score. They're sitting on 93.
So that is another lead change. This game has had quite a few, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few more before the end is here.
Bailey bouncing around in front. Pops out as lead jammer. Vic Hitter very shortly behind her. Bailey with the glance over the shoulder. Figuring out to keep the pressure on. Keep going at pace. I'm going to guess she's going to hit it and quit it. Yes, she does. 2 points added to Ballarat's score. Only 1 added to the Blue Mountains.
That will tie everything up if my maths is correct.
Your maths is great.
Wow, that never happens.
Look at that maths. If we keep it to numbers that are like below 3,
Yeah.
I think we should be okay. Alrighty, 24 and a bit minutes left in this game. This is Ballarat's last of the everyone gets a 2-game deal.
And Vindicator taking the chance to have a jam, as well as Rapidash for the Blue Mountains Free Sisters. But it is Vindicator who is lead jammer.
Malevolent with the star in hand. No advantage to having your pivot take the star when they are behind all the other blockers. So Malevolent having to make their own way through. Does so without a problem. And it's a power jam for Malevolent now. I think Vindicator had a forearm penalty back there.
Aha. So this jam will go out for the full 2 minutes as Vindicator loses lead jammer status.
Malevolent adding 5 to the Blue Mountain score. That tips them into triple figures. And Malevolent forcing a multiplayer block on number 12, Scream. So Scream goes to the penalty box for Ballarat. Vindicator driven back to behind the pivot line. Killamurray off to the penalty box as well. That's 2 in the box for Ballarat. 4 points added to the Blue Mountain score. And 4 points added to the Ballarat score. And that jam coming to its natural end. High scoring jam for the Blue Mountains. 17 points added to their score. Only 4 added to Ballarat. So Ballarat just sitting a little bit behind 100 points. I know lots of leagues have their own little traditions about what you do when there's a lead jam or what you do when you eclipse 100 points. Inner West Roller Derby League would like to invite you at the marking of lead status change or reaching 100 points to jump online, have a look at if there is a rescue dog or cat you might like to have.
Oh, that's a wonderful idea.
Ooh, better than a stupid drinking game. And emergency jamming for the Blue Mountains. She's not the lead though. That does go to Bailey. Bailey adding 3 points to the Rats score. They are now on 102. 21 and a half minutes left in this game. Now, this is only the first of the Blue Mountains games in this tournament. It's the second for Ballarat. Blue Mountains will play again tomorrow, I believe.
Yes, they will play at some point.
Against someone.
Indeed.
We
And
invite
they'll
you
be
to
playing
check
at
that out.
10:45 tomorrow on track 2 against the VICs.
Ah, yes, of course.
So the way the pool structure works here at TGSS is that there are 3 teams per pool and many, many pools.
Many pools. More pools than a Bali resort.
7 in each of Division 2 and 3 and 2 pools in Division 1.
All right, that jam coming into a halt. Ballarat taking the points this time.
So in these pool matches, each team plays each other once, and the winner from each pool with the best results or the most wins or the most points, depending on the situation, goes through to tomorrow's quarterfinals, which start tomorrow afternoon. Vindicator picking up a forearms penalty and taking a trip to the penalty bin.
Rapid Dash managing to get the lead jammer status as it is. Rapid Dash, though, held behind those Ballarat blockers, getting some offensive assistance from her pack, and she's through for a 5-point pass. Gussie a bit frustrated that she wasn't able to slow her down at all. But Blue Mountains reforming in the back as Vindicator joins the pack as well. That was a big block there out in front. Blue Mountains blocker just taking Vindicator on the chest there and forcing a high block on Vindicator. Another power jam for the Blue Mountains. Moon Crisis being absolutely solid in defence. She's been quite the pest for Vindicator. And Blue Mountains will start with a power start to Inja Rogers. Inja Rogers with one to beat. And she makes her way past Alice and is through as lead jammer. Only two blockers on the track for Ballarat. It's Bardicus and Alice.
Blue Mountains very effectively holding back.
Oh, yes, I didn't
Scream to control the pack, creating a bunny situation as Vindicator returns to the track. Little bit of confusion there. I think she was just warned by the refs that she needs to make sure the jammer star is visible. There's no more hiding the jammer star.
No secrets here. That jam coming to a conclusion. 4 points added by Inja Rogers. Blue Mountain sitting on 134 versus the Rat Pack's 106. That's a difference of 28 points.
Well done.
I am proud of myself.
We have a timeout to the Rat Pack at the moment, just to get together and regroup. Melodrama taking time during this timeout to put in a hot chip
It's
order.
a hectic schedule.
Absolutely.
Calling
Eating on the
games
go,
2,
it's
3,
very
4, 5,
important.
6, and 7. I need chips, else I'll die.
6 in a row.
6 in a row.
That's insanity right there.
Hectic, like I said.
You must have picked up someone else's shift at some point, did you? This is 3 in a row for me.
I shouldn't have registered 2 different names. And apparently I didn't do up my pants properly either. What a mess. What a mess. Victoria Hitter jamming for the Blue Mountains. She is busting her way through.
And Captain Bailey there for the Rat Pack, jamming and taking out lead jammer. Victoria Hitter just completing her initial pass now as Bailey heads into the pack, but picks up a penalty. Looks like a back block penalty there for Bailey.
Vic Hitter ducking and weaving underneath. Fantastic flexibility. 5 points added for her trouble. Blue Mountains hanging back, holding the pack steady. Number 33, Killamari, knocking Vic Hitter out of bounds.
And it is Vic Hitter's turn to get a back block penalty, which will release Bailey from the penalty box. And we'll be going out to 2 minutes in this jam.
Bailey was standing as well, so that suggests that there is at least 20 seconds to be served in the penalty box. A little bit of confusion there.
Yeah,
Bailey
penalty called by the jam ref, but not on the jammer. She was just making sure she hadn't cut the track, but it was
best not to do the insubordination thing.
No, that's right. So it was a no pass, no penalty rather than a cut track. As she busts through once more, picking up another 5 points for the Rat Pack.
Vic Hitter being held back. And that was Alice, I believe. Vic Hitter meshes through, adding 4 more points to the Blue Mountain score. 2 more points added to the Rat Pack. Scores are still very, very close. This is a very well-matched game.
Absolutely. As I said, I had a few people say, oh, that'll be a close game. They're obviously quite familiar with these teams. And we have an official review. So Mel is going in to find out what's going on. And we'll get back to you once we know more.
Alrighty, so that official review was on a potential track cut. The Blue 88. See, I don't even know who Blue 88 is because there's Blue 8 and Emergency. Anywho, there was a penalty that was called on Bailey, or they're asking for a track cut penalty on Bailey. What happened is the Blue Mountains blocker engaged Bailey and did a stop block, so an illegal block. And at that point, that blocker blocked Bailey out of bounds. Bailey then stepped back into bounds because that blocker did an illegal block and therefore was meant to leave the track. And there was no track cut because that blocker was off the track. God, I hope that made more sense than it did when I just said it to myself.
It made sense to me.
Excellent.
Do we know the outcome of that official review?
Lost.
Lost.
Bailey's through. Lee Jammer.
Couple
Got
of
the old
Blue
Tyrannosaurus
Mountains
Rex arms going on.
and a couple of the Blue Mountains players there having a bit of a lie down. You get tired, so
It's a tiring day.
absolutely.
These fluoro lights. Whew. Suck the life out of you. Bailey practicing her best matrix. 2 points. Whoa. Osmosis joining the pack on the track. Osmosis playing for the Blue Mountains in the light blue. An emergency. Very tall out the front. It's a very upright skating position that she adopts.
It's Bailey with lead jammer, but the jammers are not very far apart, so this will probably be a very quick hit it and quit it situation.
Bailey ducks around. And exactly as you said, Willow grabs the 3 and calls it off. Good enough.
With a bit of a rock star glide there, just for extra style points.
Yeah, needed the old guitar flange. Blue Mountains just hanging on to their lead. 20 points in front now. Plenty of jams to come though. There's still 12 more minutes left. Vindicator jamming for like the 11th millionth time today. She's through as lead jammer.
Rapidash just trying to get out of the pack, but finding the hips of number 33, Kilamari, who then finds the hips of someone else.
Possibly Dr. Hoo Hoo.
Dr. Hoo Hoo there picking up an insubordination penalty for the way she left the track.
She did sort of come around to the track all the way to nearly the pivot line.
Yes, I was sort of waiting for that call. That was not really the best immediately exiting the track that I've ever seen, to be fair.
Hey, there was a bit of a delay.
That is another 5-point pass for Vindiscate. And there's been a star pass from the Free Sisters, which gives the jammer cover to Mandus Flutterby.
Oh, Flutterby. I see what you're saying there.
Like a butterfly.
Yeah,
but Flutterby.
Flutterby.
And that brings the Rat Pack to within 8 points of the Free Sisters. How's that for some maths?
That's awesome maths.
So really not a lot in this game at all. Down to the last 10 minutes. Oh, and it's a race of jammers out the front, and
Bailey going for the blocking.
but it is Bailey with lead. A bit hard to tell between the blue and the grey, and the
referees.
The official jammer cover for the referees is actually some silver gaffer tape. So
stylish. Gaffer tape can do everything. These jammers are going to keep on going. Bailey is the lead jammer and can call it off whenever she wants, but doesn't seem to want. Both teams scoring the same amount of points. I do not see any players in the penalty box.
And a very fast open pack.
Not sure why Bailey was running that jam.
I think there was someone in the penalty box. Maybe she just wanted to get those 2 points to just try and eke out some advantage in the jam.
Only 6 points the difference now. So they're creeping on through. Over 9 minutes left in this game.
Still very much anyone's game. It's what we like to see. Vindicator using her pivot there as a bit of a cannonball, but also just to whip around. Picks up lead jammer.
It almost looked like she used slipstream as a bit of a whip. Vindicator finding the ground and calling that jam off. Blocking out of play. Given to one of the Blue Mountains blockers. That is Malevolent. Only 5 points in it now. Oh no, see, score being changed. There's 4 points in it now.
Super close game now as Bailey takes the jammer star and lead jammer position for the Rat Pack. And it is Inja Rogers trying to get through the pack for Blue Mountains roller derby. She's taken the star off, a bit of a stash there.
Moon Crisis with the pivot.
But very far away, and the Rat Pack doing their best to keep them separated.
They're doing a great job. It's almost like Moon Crisis doesn't realise that the star pass might be an option.
Another 5-point pass there for Bailey.
Moon Crisis getting in there and dealing a massive hit on Alice.
And that is a lead change. The Rat Pack have hit the lead with 155 points over 149. So there you go. There's another time
dog
to go and rescue a puppy or a kitten.
Get a dog. Ninja Rogers still without the star on the helmet. Moon Crisis is now behind her though. Ninja Rogers looking like she needs a bit of a break there. Bumping into the ref. And Moon Crisis with the star in hand now.
Bailey picking up some more points, feeling like almost she's trying to run down the clock whilst they have the lead.
There's
still 6 minutes to
go.
It's a lot of clock to run down.
A lot of clock to be running. That's quite a risk that you're taking with 6 minutes left.
But when your opposing jammer is on their initial pass, it every second counts. That could save 2 points in the
Blue Mountains.
In the end. It's calling a timeout. Not really surprising.
No. Stop that momentum. There's a foul out happened.
Yeah, that's Ballerina. She has picked up her 7th penalty and will go and spend the rest of the game not here. Oh, over there.
Just over there. It's the cheeky not quite here. All right, what's the score difference? 19 points. Jeez, it comes close and then blows out again, doesn't it?
Refs having a bit of a chat, making sure all their paperwork is in order and their communication is on point.
All right, and time is back on. 6 minutes, 14 seconds, Willow. 19 points the difference. Who's going to come out in front?
I don't want to call it. It really...
Well, my money's on the Blue Mountains.
Yeah, if Blue Mountains can keep their jammer out of the box...
Because they got the fresh legs, right?
Yeah, that's right. But if the Rat Pack keep their jammer out of the box, they seem to have the momentum at the moment.
As you said that, Vindicator with the pivot cover goes to the penalty box for track cut.
They have Bailey there with lead jammer, and
Bailey directing traffic from out the front.
she
Standing
is rather
backwards.
calling off the jam.
It was quite stylish, really, wasn't it?
It is. Doesn't stop the Blue Mountains from scoring 2 points, but Bailey there picking up 4 points. Trying to determine which is better, to pick up the points or to get her pivot out of the penalty box. And she has gone with the former. But she will jam again by the looks of things. Back-to-back jams for Bailey.
But when your pivot is Vindicator, it's not really a problem.
No, that's right. And it doesn't seem to be a problem for Bailey. She's out for lead jammer.
Bailey doesn't look tired at all.
An emergency now jamming for the Blue Mountains. Bailey just cruising around there. Sees that Vindicator is out of the box and calls off the jam.
Very calm captaining from Bailey.
Very good sort of awareness and communication going on the track, which when the game is this close is really important, I think. Making sure that you are in control and on top of everything that's going on.
Only 4 minutes left. 24 points the difference.
Yeah, Blue Mountains really want to hold on to this. They've got lead jammer. With Vindicator, they're trying to get through the pack. Vic Hitter now through as well. Getting the call to keep going to probably get her fellow blockers, well, her fellow skaters, blockers out of the penalty bin.
Yeah, 2 of them it's worth holding out a little bit. In front benching for the Blue Mountains we have Elka Skelka. Vindicator through for another 5-point pass.
Vic Hitter just looking to a bench for direction and calls off the jam after getting all her fellow teammates out of the penalty box. Just waiting on confirmation on the final scores per team in that jam. Some discussion between the inside and the outside pack refs. And we have an official's timeout while they sort all of that out.
Well, all good.
And once again, it looks like we have Bailey jamming for the Rat Pack. It was a very close race out of the front of the pack. Oh, we've had an eaten baby.
Oh,
Doesn't happen very often anymore, but an emergency there, getting hit out and overtaken by the pack, so calling it off because she can, and that's not really a situation you want to be in.
no. Ballarat looking pretty confident now, 20 points ahead. Just over a minute and a half left, so I reckon maybe 3 jams left. 2,
Yeah,
3
could
jams.
be. They've had very short, choppy jams in this game, but that is Bailey being sent to the penalty bin for a cut track penalty. So that does hand a power jam to the Blue Mountain Roller Derby League. What can they do with this last minute and 30 seconds? Can they bring it home for the Blue Mountains.
A little bit of confusion there as and Inja Rogers trying to re-enter the track there. Unsure as to whether she needed to go behind Vindicator or not. She didn't have to because Vindicator was out of bounds. And losing Blue Mountains a couple of seconds there. When you're playing up against the likes of Bailey, a couple of seconds is really worth trying to hang on to. And Inja Rogers being held back by Vindicator again. But that pulled a penalty, not sure what of.
Vindicator taking a seat as Inja Rogers calls off the jam. Looks like we will have one more jam.
One more jam, that's likely to be it. 15 points the difference. A power jam is what the Blue Mountains need.
Quick officials time out there.
Vindicator being fouled out of the game, I think.
Looks like it. She'll go and join Ballerina, although they're not on the same team. She might not. They might not sit together, but they can hang out and commiserate. So
that's the one. In the fouled out club.
Very slow start to this jam. Both teams just super keen.
Bailey having to be very aware of where the line is, but obviously not that aware. She goes to the penalty box. Power jam for the Blue Mountains. Rapid dash holding all the cards.
Yeah, she's really going to want to put her speed skates on and see what she can do.
She needs 16 points.
Not impossible, really.
Not impossible.
I've seen it happen in a power jam situation especially.
There's absolutely no time left on the game clock. So 5 points.
And it looks like Bailey may also have fouled out, so she won't be returning to the track. So,
okay, I don't understand what that means.
That means
someone else will go.
No, that means that the Rat Pack will continue this entire jam with no jammer.
Oh, right.
Which makes this
Willow,
last
I did not know
jam
that.
very
That's just changed
interesting for the Blue Mountains Roller Derby League.
They are within heading distance. They are 1 point ahead. Blue Mountains need to keep cool heads on. Blue Mountains are the lead jammer. Rapid dash with the opportunity of calling the jam off. She really needs to call this jam off.
Well, she doesn't because the other jammer can't come back on. So if she's got the lead, then she can call it off and take the win. But it's whether or not she realises that.
So if the other jammer can't come back on, if she gets a penalty of whatever nature, she goes off to the penalty box. What happens then?
Jam will be whistled dead, I would imagine.
Goodness,
what happens after that, I don't know. Sometimes
there's
an
a track cut
unnatural
being called. No one's leaving the
conclusion.
track. Someone's getting a sub. Oh, that was an emergency. Not the jammer. Rapid dash keeps on going. 5 more points. Everybody's confused. What is the score going to be? No doubt they will check this score. 5 points added. 5 points added on that last pass.
Just goes to show what happens when your jammers get too many penalties. You can lose it in the last jam. Oh, we have an official review being called. Melodrama going in to see what's going on there. It is the Rat Pack's official review. We will see what this does to the outcome of the game. This is the kind of excitement we like to see during the Great Southern Slam and during roller derby in general. But what a crazy way to finish the game, and it may not be done yet. We do still have this official review pending. These officials will be taking this situation very seriously. It really can potentially affect the outcome of this game. So they want to make sure everybody knows who saw what and when, and make sure the right outcome is achieved.
All right. The skinny on that was that Ballarat went in there saying that there was a track cut penalty on the fourth corner that was not called. They asked for an official review. If there was an official review that was successful, they would have had one more jam. That would have been a pretty fantastic way to finish the game. But as it was, the track cut was called. It just wasn't signalled as a track cut because it was a no pass, no penalty situation anyway.
So that is our final, unofficial final score so far, as our jam refs and scorekeepers have a chat, make sure everything is in order. That is a pretty exciting way to finish a game. A little bit disappointing there for the Rat Pack, losing their jammer.
Yeah, losing two of their games from the pool. We're just waiting to see if that really is the final score. That was a very close game. We are just waiting to see if that is the official score. Just last minute calculations happening. Just so you remember though, playing for the Blue Mountains today was Chick Dastardly, Rapid Dash, Malevolent, Roxy Tosin, Dr. Hoo Hoo, Moon Crisis, Injure Rogers, Slip Scream, Victoria Hitter, Ballerina, Losmosis and Emergency, and Mandus Flutterby.
And for the Ballarat Roller Derby League today, we had Scream, Kamakamzi, Xavier, Bartkus, Gussie, Killamari, Mega, Bailey, Alice, Snipples, Vindicator, and on the bench we had Rachel and Xavier, as well as various other people.
We're really not sure what's happening with the scoreboard now.
I think the scoreboard is just a bit confused, but we will wait until we have that final score for you. But it does look at this point.
It's happening.
Like that is a 4-point win to the Free Sisters.
Terrific work to both teams. Thank you so much for joining us. The next round of Derby games is going to happen in about 14 minutes. So make sure to come back and join us again. My name is Melodrama.
And my name is Willow Mina.
Thank you, and we'll see you very soon.